What's up, everyone? Welcome back to GymnasticsVille. I'm Mubarak Simmons, and we are back to talking about adult gymnastics, the growth, the community, and finally giving it the shine it deserves. Our guest, Hayley Silberg from CAPTivate Gymnastics, an all adult gymnastics club with about 300 athletes training across 3 Canadian provinces. We're getting into how that program came together, what it takes to build adult gyms for adults, and why more clubs should be doing it. We're also going to talk about Gymnaestrada. If you haven't heard the word before, stick around because next July, the World Gymnaestrada lands in Lisbon, Portugal, and after that, it's headed to Las Vegas in 2031, the first time ever outside of Europe. Hayley's been going at it for years, and she has the stories to prove it. Let's get into it. Hayley, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
Yes, so am I. Hayley, you are our second guest, no, third guest that really lately we have been getting into adult gymnastics, and you're part of a fantastic. You're a co-founder of CAPTivate Adult Gymnastics. How did you get into this? What's the story behind it?
I think, like most good business ideas, it stemmed from selfishness. I wanted something for myself. It didn't exist, so I started it, and now it's grown bigger than I could ever have possibly imagined. In September of 2018, I was looking. Previously, I had been coaching performance teams, Gymnastrada teams of
Okay.
teenagers. And when one of them was absent or injured, I would step in and perform with them. And I thought, this is the funnest activity ever. It includes tumbling skills, handstands, partner acrobatic tricks, dance, choreography, costumes, makeup, performances, all of it. It's a huge team bonding experience. And I thought, why doesn't this exist for adults? So I'm going to start CAPTivate Gymnastics. When we first started, the first 4 letters of our name were actually an acronym, which stood for Calgary Adult Performance Team, building routines to captivate audiences. That was all CAPTivate was ever intended to be, was just one adult performance team. And then it grew and it grew over 8 years. It doubled in size every year for the first 5 years, even with COVID happening. And now we've expanded beyond performance teams. We have women's artistic, men's artistic, TNT, acrobatic gymnastics, and performance teams, which we also call Gymnastrada. So it became my full-time job. I started CAPTivate. I was working as an engineer for a consulting company downtown, working that corporate life Monday to Friday. And CAPTivate was running one evening a week just on
Wow.
Tuesday nights. It was just a fun little side activity. And then as it grew, I realized that I had 2 full-time jobs going and young kids at home as well. So I quit my job and made CAPTivate my full-time job. And I currently have the best job in the entire world.
Wow. Wow. I mean, that's such a story. So you started it, you were coaching it. Were you a gymnast earlier in your life growing up, or like how did you even get into that a little bit?
I am advanced rec for life.
Okay.
My parents would not let me do competitive gymnastics when I was younger, so I maxed out at about 4 hours a week training from parent and taught literally until grade 12. I think I was the only 18-year-old in my group training at the same time as 10-year-olds. I just loved gymnastics so much. And then I went off to university, and I was lucky to go to a Canadian university that had a gymnastics club as part of it. So we trained 3 evenings a week at a gym, and we actually had coaches and structure. We all went to bars together, and we all went to beam
Oh,
together.
cool.
And I loved that experience. So then when I graduated university, that was when I moved from Ontario to Alberta, where I live now. And there was no structured gymnastics, only drop-ins and open gyms. And I am a coach. I started coaching at 14. I've been coaching once or twice a week ever since then. So that's 25 years. I'm 39. And I missed being coached. I wanted
Hmm.
someone to spot me. I wanted someone to make me condition.
When the
That's what I
direction,
wanted.
direction, everyone wants a little
Yeah, I
direction,
wanted
right?
accountability. I wanted
Yeah.
a consistent group of teammates that I was going to see every week at the gym who were going to progress alongside me. And I wanted this team to perform with or train with. So that was how CAPTivate came to be. But my basics are solid, but I am not a high level gymnast.
Wow. I mean, this is great. This is man. So, I mean, obviously, you had a job, and then now this is your job. What's like the most rewarding aspect of your job when you go to work? Working with adults, because you know a large part of the gymnastics community, at least up until now, I feel like adult gymnastics is growing, has really been all about the youth, and now you're seeing the adult aspect of it. What's the rewarding part about working with adults, coaching adults?
Well, I coached kids for years and years and years, and I have 3 kids myself. They're ages 9, 6, and 4, and they all do gymnastics.
Dope.
So I know what it's like to coach kids. Kids are very excitable and playful, and they're really into having fun all the time. And coaching them is great. I loved coaching kids at the time. But coaching adults is a totally different animal because adults are significantly less playful and less open and vulnerable with their emotions. So when they're experiencing fear or joy, they may not show it the same way that a child would immediately show it. So when an adult is overwhelmed with excitement because they've just learned a new skill or overcome a big fear, it feels more powerful. It's more powerful to have an adult, whoop and throw their arms in the air because they just stuck their first cartwheel on beam than it is to have a kid do that, because it's so much less socially acceptable for an adult to celebrate outwardly in that way.
I get that. I get that. So they gotta be excited if they're, showing their emotion like that.
Yeah. And showing their fear too.
Yeah.
It's amazing. All people become so authentic and tuned into their personal selves when they're in their adult gymnastics class. And I think as a follow up to that, it's a really perfect foundation for making new friends,
Yeah.
because we're really good as adults at keeping to ourselves and staying guarded. But when we step outside our comfort zones and we're scared and we're vulnerable and we're overcoming fear and we're falling publicly in front of other people, it really creates this foundation of trust, which friendships are easily built upon. So I have found that people come to adult gymnastics, they train in a consistent group for 3 months straight with the same people. They fall in front of them, they learn to trust them, and then they become friends for life because of adult gymnastics.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. I mean that's great. It kind of takes me back a little bit, because you talked about Gymnastrada and the performance aspect of it. So after my career, I went to work in Disney and we performed, and I'm performing with adults, and I get exactly what you mean by that. And I just think it's remarkable. So can we talk a little bit about Gymnastrada a little bit? You said it's performance based. How did you get into that? Because and is this something that's growing in Canada, or like how did you get into Gymnastrada?
That's such a good question, because I grew up in Ontario, in Toronto, and
Okay,
Gymnastrada is virtually unheard of
got
there.
it.
I think Toronto is a lot like most of USA gymnastics, where people have never even heard the word before. Maybe they do a performance showcase at the end of the session. You bring all the parents in, you make a little group routine. Maybe you have some very basic acro tricks that the coach has seen performed on Instagram, so they teach
Yeah,
their group to do it, but they don't actually have any acrobatic training on partner tricks or anything like that. Then when I moved to Calgary, for whatever reason, Gymnastrada is huge in Western Canada. I
really.
think it might stem
Hmm.
from rhythmic gymnastics. I think this
Okay.
might be something that was normalized through rhythmic gymnastics and then made its way into artistic gymnastics and acrobatic gymnastics as well. But in Western Canada, Gymnastrada is huge. So in Calgary alone, we have 3 different Gymnastrada teams. That's my city. But then in Alberta, which is my whole province, we have something like 8 or 9 Gymnastrada teams.
Wow.
That are planning to go to World Gymnaestrada. On a smaller level, we just had our provincial Gymnastrada, and there were 30 teams performing. So that's, that includes kids that are sort of too young to travel internationally to Portugal. Okay. But Gymnastrada is happening at a grassroots level, and then it goes all the way up to the world's level. So I have no idea why that is. Here I am in Canada trying to tell everyone over in Eastern Canada, guys, this is really fun. You should offer this at your gyms. But they're, I think, in the same position as you, which is they've never heard of it. And because it's non-competitive, they don't really understand the point. Maybe why do you do this? And I am just extolling the virtues of Gymnastrada. The amount of social bonding that happens on a performance team versus doing individual gymnastics.
Oh my God. It's
unreal.
I agree with you there.
Super social, lots of friendships. And then on top of that, it's the funnest way to represent your city or your state or your country on an international scale doing recreational level gymnastics. So the feeling of walking in during opening ceremonies and you're decked out head to toe in matching outfits with everyone from your whole country is incredible. You feel like you're actually at the Olympics walking in and there's a flag bearer in front of you that's holding the sign with your country on it and you're waving at the crowd as you walk in. Everyone's cheering for you. You really do feel like you're at the Olympics. It's such an incredible feeling to represent your country on an international scale, but without needing that professional level of sport ability.
So can you talk about it? Because after, you reached out and I did some more research about it, I mean, maybe I just want to make sure I'm categorizing it right, but it's every 4 years. It's almost like the FIFA Cup or the Olympics. It's in different, I guess it's been in different European countries. It's been established since the 1950s. But how many competitors and delegations come, just so we can give like our listeners right now kind of the magnitude of Gymnastrada, which I'm not going to lie to you, probably a lot of the listeners here today haven't really heard too much about it.
Okay, so World Gymnaestrada is the biggest gymnastics event in the world by numbers. It is bigger than the Olympics, including every sport at the Olympics.
That's just crazy.
World Gymnastrada happens every 4 years. It's always been in Europe up until 5 years from now when it's going to be in Vegas, as you mentioned during the introduction. The number of people who come to World Gymnastrada is almost 20,000 people. They come from about 65 different countries. The average age at the recent few World Gymnastradas is 35 years old.
Wow.
So you will see kids aged 2 years old, literally wearing diapers underneath their gym suits on the floor. And then you will also see silver-haired rock stars who are in their 80s, even 90s, even in wheelchairs, even with adaptive disabilities, all levels of ability, doing group routines together. And it's a massive showcase of the diversity of gymnastics, the diversity of the people, the diversity of the disciplines, and the diversity of cultural representation.
Yeah.
So you'll have every group that goes to World Gymnastrada is representing their country in some way. So they grasp some element that's important to their country's history or culture, whether it be the costumes or the music, and they create choreography that tells a story about their country. And it can include people of all ages and abilities. There are high-level competitive athletes there who are clearly competitive acrobatic gymnasts who appear to be made out of actual rubber and can,
contortion,
like
all that, right? Yeah. Oh my God, yes.
Right. And then there's, like I said, your seniors who are doing really cleanly executed, entertaining, but physically low-level acrobatic tricks and choreography. Super fun to watch them. They are a highlight for sure. And then you've got lots of people like you and me who are in their 20s, 30s, 40s.
Yep.
Maybe they have a gymnastics background. Maybe they're new to gymnastics and they're doing tumbling tricks and acrobatic tricks. And then there are kids, tons of kids who participate. And there are teams that have 3 generations on the same team. So you might have the grandkids, the parents, and the grandparents all performing on the same team together. They travel, they perform, and then they turn it into a family holiday.
Wow. Wow. This is amazing. Like I said, this is getting me excited. And, you've been doing this for a while. What would be like for a gym owner listening, right? Like, how would you even, because this sounds amazing, but how would you even start something like this? Like, what would your progression be for someone that says, hey, how do I get this started?
What I did first was I attended World Gymnaestrada as an athlete. So I joined a local team in 2017. I trained for 2 years. Most Gymnastrada teams will train for 2 years leading up to World Gymnastrada. The first year, you're putting together a routine, and then you go to your own country's national Gymnastrada, which not every country has. And then in the second year, you polish up that routine and you take it to World Gymnastrada. So I went to World Gymnastrada 2019 in Austria as an athlete. I was on a team that was primarily rhythmic gymnastics, which is not my style of gymnastics, but it was an investment. I learned how to spin a hoop around my wrist in to the beat of the music. And I actually ended up going to that 2019 Gymnastrada while I was 6 months pregnant.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was a wild time. So I absorbed the whole experience and saw how worthy it was to bring it back and create an all-adult team. The team that I was on was a mix of kids and adults. So I came back to Canada and created my all-adult CAPTivate Gymnastics team. And then we went to our first World Gymnastrada in 2023, which was in Amsterdam. And that was my first time coaching and managing a team. So I've had both perspectives. I've learned a lot along the way. I think for gym owners out there that are hearing about this for the first time, it's not too late to go to World Gymnastrada in Portugal. So it's happening basically right now.
It's basically a year from now, right?
Yeah. So it's July, I think 10th to 17th, 2027. And there are many ways to go without actually being a part of a club team. So you can go as part of a mass routine if USA or Australia or Canada, whatever country you live in, some countries will perform a mass routine, which is 200 plus people on a football field doing almost like marching band formations. Very basic choreography learned from a video, but with really cool formation changes. And sometimes they have big props that are really effective.
Yeah.
So you can go with one of those teams and learn the choreography just from videos. If your country doesn't have that, then there's another thing called the World's Team. And the World's Team is really just a collection of individuals from tons of different countries who want to join the World's Team, learn the world's mass routine choreography, and participate in Gymnastrada that way. So I would say go to Portugal, participate or spectate at World Gymnastrada, get a feel for just how big and exciting and life-changing it is. And then your motivation levels will be real high.
I bet.
Back to your club and put together a team. If you're at the point that you're at your gym putting together a Gymnastrada team, then first find out about all the performance opportunities that you can get a hold of. So for sure, a club showcase, maybe even performing at another club's showcase is a good place to start. Sometimes you can do halftime shows at basketball games.
Oh, okay. As a way to prep for it. No, that's a good idea. Yep.
Yeah, as a way to get practice performing in front of an audience. And then you'll want to find a provincial or state Gymnastrada event where there's lots of different teams all performing at once. And then, like I said, some countries, but not every country, will have a national Gymnastrada, and then you continue on to Worlds. But really just get a hold of your National Gymnastics Federation. So for you guys, that'd be USAG. For me, that's Gymnastics Canada. All over the world, there's always a National Gymnastics Federation. Get in touch with them and tell them that you're interested in putting together a team to go to World Gymnastrada, and they'll be able to help you. And if they can't, I hope you put my contact info.
100%.
of this podcast, and I personally will figure out how to help you, because I think more countries and more provinces and states should be participating in Gymnastrada. To me, Gymnastrada is everything that is right about gymnastics. It's the fitness and the fun and the friendship and the movement of your body, the playful movement, without any of the toxic culture that can sometimes arise in a competitive scene.
I
There's
get it. Competitive, the scoring, subjective requirements, a bunch of that. It's almost just like, to be honest with you, just how can I say this? Probably the most pure way of doing gymnastics.
Exactly. Exactly. You're not encouraged to train through an injury,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
there's no pressure to achieve a certain skill by a certain time. It's really gymnastics for the love of gymnastics. And if you don't have it at your club, you probably have people who are as in love with gymnastics as I am on a
100%.
recreational level,
Yep.
but they have no team or showcase or objective to work towards. And that's where Gymnastrada can be incredible.
Wow, that's great. And obviously, you guys just came back from your U.S. nationals for Gymnastrada. How did that go for you guys? Am I categorizing that properly?
It was our Canadian Gymnastrada, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we
Yep.
had Canadian Gymnastrada in Saskatchewan. There were 21 teams performing. They were from all over the country. So lots of teams from Western Canada, where I said Gymnastrada is huge, but also teams from Ontario and Quebec and Manitoba, all over. And it was incredible, honestly, just being there as a spectator. I mean,
Yeah.
performing is super fun. I think Gymnastrada is equal parts super fun to hang out with your team and bond with your teammates and create memories inside and outside of the gym. Our team did karaoke. We had team dinners. We had hair parties. We did arts and crafts. We had a big handstand training session in the ballroom of the hotel we were staying at. It was a lot of fun, just deepening the friendships within the team. But then in addition to that, you make friends with people on other teams and you cheer them on, and you sit in the audience yourself and you watch other people's routines and you think, oh, wow, that's a really cool costume idea or a really
Yeah.
cool choreography bit, or look at that acro trick. That's amazing. And it's really inspiring for you to then perform better because you see all these routines.
Wow. This is great. This is great. I'm glad you definitely came on to talk about it because I've been doing research on it. Lisbon's a beautiful country. I mean, Portugal. So definitely, I do want to talk a little bit more before we kind of close out and talk a little bit more about CAPTivate because there's not many programs that are really geared towards adult gymnastics, and it seems like you have a lot of different disciplines that you offer. Um, Within each club, does each club have something different, or like how is that set up like for you guys?
Well, CAPTivate is a really unique business model because we don't own a facility.
Okay.
So we are an independent gymnastics club. We are part of the Alberta Gymnastics Federation and the Manitoba Gymnastics Federation and the Northwest Territories Gymnastics Federation. So we're part of these provincial organizations, but we don't own a building and we don't own equipment.
Okay.
Instead, what we do is we rent space from 17 plus. I just signed our 18th home host gyms. I just signed them today. It was great.
Nice.
So we rent space from 18 different gyms all over Canada, and we run our adult programs after hours or during the daytime when kids are not in the gym. So we have several morning programs where kids are in school and adults either are shift workers, university students, retired stay-at-home parents, hybrid remote workers, and they can train during the day. And then we also have quite a few programs that happen in the evenings starting at 7:30 or 8 p.m. when the gyms are starting to empty out of the kids' programs. So it's allowed us to expand and offer gymnastics everywhere. The styles and disciplines of gymnastics that we offer is really a Venn diagram of the coach's comfort
Mm,
level and the
yeah.
equipment that the gym has. So if I meet a new coach in a new city and they already have a connection to some gym, and I can get them excited about adult gymnastics and they want to join CAPTivate and coach a CAPTivate program, then I basically ask them what style of gymnastics they want to coach, what are they most comfortable with, and then also what equipment does the gym have, and we put the pieces together like that. And it's allowed us to offer so many different disciplines. Also, we cater to what people ask for. So our TNT program came to be because one of our adults was doing artistic gymnastics and said, I really just want to do trampoline and tumbling. And so I thought I can make that happen. We have one particular host gym that has a big competitive TNT program. Lots of coaches are already at that gym. So if they want to coach some adults, I can train them up on how to coach adults. They already know how to coach gymnastics. I just train them on how to coach adults. And then we put together a really successful program.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do want to add one thing. This is like a little bit out of order, but
No,
about
it's okay.
the World Gymnaestrada team, this is the first Worlds team that we've had that it has included online participants.
Whoa.
So there are, I'm based in Calgary, and we do have a big contingent of in-person participants that train in Calgary on Sunday nights. We also have an in-person contingent training in Edmonton on Sunday nights, which is another big city about 3 hours away from us driving. But then on top of that, we have more participants that are not within driving distance of Calgary and Edmonton, and they are online participants on our team. Right now, they're only Canadian, but there's actually no rules. So if you guys are listening wherever you are and you want to join an all-adult World Gymnaestrada team, you want to learn choreography from videos and then be a part of the CAPTivate Worlds team, this is your open offer. Anyone can do that. You would have to fly to Calgary or Edmonton at least once or twice for an in-person workshop.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah, you'd have to do a lot of homework at home. And then we would all meet up in Lisbon, Portugal, a day or two early and have some practices in person. And then boom, we'd go out on the floor and we would perform as one integrated unit. You would never be able to tell watching our routine that 3 of the people who performed with us at Canadian Gymnastrada don't even live within driving distance of us.
Wow.
Super cool.
Yeah. Super cool, super creative. I feel like, I consider myself a creative person. And I think the opportunities for these performances are endless.
Yeah. It's such a fun way. It's a way to find community if you're in an area that doesn't have a big adult gymnastics crew. You can find community online. It's amazing.
Yeah. And so there's different disciplines in Gymnastrada, right? So there's the artistic and there's the rhythmic. And are there any other ones that I'm missing out on?
Yeah, there's a big acrobatic contingent.
Oh, got it.
These are competitive acrobatic gymnasts.
So they're throwing each other up in the air, doing the tosses, all that stuff.
Lots of pairs tricks and trio tricks mostly. And then there are some disciplines of gymnastics that don't even exist in North America that I had never heard of until I went to World Gymnaestrada. Have you ever heard of team gym?
Not
team
really.
Gym is like a giant air track that's the whole length of a floor diagonal. And I think they're teams of about 6 or 8 people, and they tumble along. And when they land, the next person is already immediately tumbling because one of the things that they're judged on is like landing one after another after another.
Yeah.
There are coaches that are standing next to the landing zone. So as each person lands, they kind of steady them and then get them off the mat so they don't get landed on by the next person.
It's like rapid fire tumbling.
Rapid fire, exactly. They have I don't know the rules exactly, but I think there's a forwards routine, a backwards routine, and then they also have an event called trampette, which is basically like a mini tramp, but with no beat board leading up to it, no springboard. So you just run, you hit this mini tramp, you do one trick, and then you land. So they also do a trampette routine. And I had never heard of team gym at all. Also in Switzerland, it's a huge thing to learn swinging rings. Ooh. It's exactly what you're picturing. It's like the men's
like old school. Because remember back in the day, men's rings used to swing.
Yes. So I learned that the acronym for rings, like still rings is SR, which is still rings. Like I think it's like
Yep.
stationary rings, but that is to differentiate it from swinging rings, which is still alive and strong in Switzerland. And there are entire teams, Gymnastrada teams, who train on swinging rings, and they have either circular or long linear setups of multiple pairs of swinging rings.
Oh,
And they
wow.
create choreography on swinging rings. So there'll be like a cannon of dismounts where they all go one after another. And they're doing inlocates and dislocates, and they're just beautiful shapes and timing. It's so cool to watch, and you think they're going to land on top of each other, but they
Of
don't.
course, because they're swinging so big. Swinging
Yeah,
rings is.
huge
I
swing.
see old videos of back in the day of the swinging rings on the beach, and I'm like,
Yeah.
they're doing triples
Yes.
and
Yes.
stuff, and I'm like, this is crazy.
Super cool. So there's disciplines of gymnastics that you haven't even heard of at World Gymnaestrada.
Wow, this is great. This has been very enlightening for me, and I'm sure our audience here. But before we let you go, how can people find out more about CAPTivate? What are your socials or your website for people to get involved, either with your gym if they're visiting Canada? Can they just drop in, right? Or yeah, how can they find out more information?
Yeah. Thanks for asking that question. CAPTivate, we have a website where you can find all the information about specifically the World Gymnaestrada team, as well as all our upcoming programs. We typically run in 3-month sessions, although in the summertime we run shorter 1-month sessions. We do have bring a friend classes and skills workshops every once in a while. So there are opportunities to come just do one class. Our Instagram is at CAPTivate.gymnastics. And then we also have some sub Instagrams, if you will. We have CAPTivate.gymnastics.australia and CAPTivate.gymnastics.alberta, CAPTivate.gymnastics.manitoba. So there's lots of CAPTivate accounts for all the different locations where we operate. And then my email is hello@CAPTivateGymnastics.com. So if you want to send me an email, that will go straight to me. And if I can just close off by saying that if you're an adult listening to this podcast and you're on the fence about whether to give gymnastics a try, either for the first time or returning to the sport, don't just do it for your physical health. Do it for your mental health. You would not believe the self-esteem and resilience that you will build within yourself by getting into a gymnastics club with a group of people that support you wholeheartedly and stepping outside your comfort zone. Yes, you will feel sore the next day, and yes, you will get a phenomenal workout like all gymnasts do, but I don't need to sell you on the physical virtues of gymnastics. I want to enforce how, when gymnastics is done correctly in this really supportive environment, it is the best thing you can possibly do for your mental health. And that's what adult gymnastics is all about.
Well said. I don't know if I could have said anything better than that about what adult gymnastics is. And I think what you're doing in Canada with CAPTivate is amazing. I think it's definitely needed, the mental health aspects, especially when you get older, when it's what's harder sometimes to find that social aspect of life, and I think you hit it right on the money. So I'm not going to say too much more. You nailed that one. Hayley, appreciate your time coming on, educating us on Gymnastrada and your program in Canada, and hopefully we get to tune in a little bit more, because as we prep for this, I feel like now this is going to be something that GymnasticsVille is kind of following in on as we prep for the World Gymnaestrada in Lisbon. We definitely like to have you come on just to kind of let us know how you're doing and keep us informed. This is great.
That would be amazing. I would love to be back. You can watch our most recent Gymnastrada routine if you want. We have a YouTube account, CAPTivate.gymnastics. And if you check that out, you'll see the most recent routine that we performed in Saskatchewan. It's so much fun. Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun. Being on your podcast is great. I feel like I could just talk about gymnastics.
Oh, I know. You and I both. All right. Well, thanks for coming on in GymnasticsVille. We'll see you all next time.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.